thanks for being here.
Yeah.
This is really exciting. So we were going to talk about self-empowerment and body positivity and music as well, obviously, because you're an artist. So I just thought, let's tell everyone a little bit about who Taylor Greenwood is. So you are an artist and you're a pro model.
Yeah. I guess I was a musician first. So I went to music school and then I released 3 albums in my early 20s. And then I started doing plus size modeling full time mid to late 20s. So I've kind of been doing a combination of those things.
That's awesome. So what sort of music are you, like, how would you describe your music? What genre are you in? I hate that question too. So
I haven't had that question asked to me in so many years.
Sorry.
I've always loved pop music. Like, that's what my thing is, except for that I have a soulful voice and I care really a lot about lyrics. So it's like soulful pop with meaningful lyrics.
You have a great voice. I love your voice. Yeah, you have amazing phrasing actually as a vocalist. Cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
I like it. So, I mean, how did you do any touring, or did you get a label behind you, or did you stay independent?
I talked to several labels at the beginning, but we were talking about this on our last phone call, right? They wanted me to be like a pop star and to lose 20 pounds and to sing things that sounded really like in the box that I didn't want to sing. This is also like 10 years ago, so maybe it's different now. I know that people are more accepting and like different sounds, but back in the day they wanted something very specific. So I never signed, and then I started writing for other artists. There's a lot in my life story that I didn't cover through the music and modeling thing. But I did professional songwriting for other artists for a couple years here in LA.
How did you find co-writing with other people?
Love, so fun, and I miss it a lot.
Me too.
Now people are having Zoom sessions.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great because my favorite part of sessions is like finding out people's stories and writing for them and through their story and collaborating, and yeah, so that was great. Love
it is. I do a lot of pro songwriting as well. We should write a song together at some point. That'd be cool. So you are based in LA, aren't you? Is that where you're speaking to us from? Yeah.
Yes, I was living in New York until March, and then things went up in flames, and I'm back in LA.
We all know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, we all know what March means.
Yeah, I know. March 2020. Everyone, for years to come, we all know what that means. So I know you have like your album coming out, or I guess you said it's an album, right? I know, it's really exciting.
A full album. So I released 3 EPs, but I have 16 songs for this one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm not going to release them all, but that's what I have that I'm working on.
Are these all self-penned songs?
Yeah, and it's the first time you could see my little shitty piano set up back there. I'm staying at my friend's guest house, which has been very nice and cute, but I bought like a used Casio keyboard, and I've been writing the whole thing on that. And this is the first time that I've written by myself in like 10 years. So it sounds like my early stuff.
You get the roots of it.
Yeah. So I'm stoked. I want to finish all the songs by myself and then bring them to a producer and see what happens after, instead of collaborating from the beginning. Like, you don't need a label. Like, there's no, I'm not trying, and I'm just making music because I love it. I'm not trying to be signed. I don't want to go on international tours. Like, I just want to make music and put it out and make some cool music videos. That's like the extent of my intention behind it. If people like it, that's amazing. But like, I just want to do it so I can do it.
But talking about people liking it, Dave Grohl, like Foo Fighters, how cool is that? I saw that when I was just looking at your music a while ago now, and Dave Grohl came up, and I'm a massive Foo Fighters fan and Taylor Hawkins fan. So, I mean, how was that? Like, how did that come about?
He was a friend of a friend in Los Angeles years and years ago, like my close family friend. And he was on tour in New York while I was performing in New York back in the day. I used to have like weekly shows in the Lower East Side. And he came to a show one of the nights and he just loved it. I don't know, he just supported me from then on. He asked me how he could help. He put out a statement to Rolling Stone saying like, this girl's a badass. And it's so cool because I was doing pop music. It was never rock. But it's been really interesting to see that crossover because a lot of his fans have found me. Although I guess Dave does rock music, but it's like the pop of rock music. So it's all the same. But yeah, so he came to a show and became a fan, and we've been friends ever since. He is my mentor. It's a good mentor to have.
I bet. But I think also, you know, from what I know, he is a super authentic artist, and I know sort of people that have toured with him and things, and he always has a very great, you know, reputation. And you're a really authentic artist too, and that's something that I really love. You know, I love people that are just doing what they love because they love it, and there's no other reason behind it. They're not trying to make a bunch of money from it. Hopefully they will, but they're doing it because it's from the heart. I just love all of that, you know?
I think that's why I got out of the music industry for so long, because it was starting to not feel authentic.
Yeah.
And I was writing songs for artists, for labels, and it's just like, it got away from what made me love it in the first place.
Yeah. It became a business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
So then you went into pro modeling. And so this is really what I wanted to talk to you about, because I love your page. I've been following you for a few years. 2 years through Mike, our mutual friend. And I just love the stuff that you post, because I think your message, what it says to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you're just like, this is me, and these are my choices, and I'm empowered. You're very empowered, you know, and you're not afraid to put yourself out there and tell people that. And in an industry, fashion, because I've worked around fashion, I've never been in it, but I've certainly have friends in it and worked around it. And music, these are two industries that have a bit of an underbelly to them, where they maybe tell you that you're not, like you said, lose 10 pounds. I was told to lose weight when I was 28 pounds lighter than I am now. And you know, it can mess with your mind, can't it? When especially if you're young and you're in that situation, you don't feel suddenly like you're good enough for this industry, which is a bit rubbish. So, I mean, what's your ethos on that? Like, when you set up your Instagram page and got into modeling and stuff, what were you thinking?
This is something I feel much more comfortable to talk about. Like, I haven't been in the music industry for years, but I do feel like, I don't want to say an expert, but I've been in the plus industry since it started, like since it began, when I was too small to be a plus model. So even in the plus industry, there's still standards, because I'm a size 12 US. So plus size is typically 14, 16. So when I first signed to Wilhelmina 10 years ago, I was too small. I was too big for regular modeling.
You're right in the middle. Yeah.
And now over the course of the past couple years, they're doing like all sizes and all ages too, which is amazing. But as far as Instagram goes, it was a long road to get super comfortable. I've always felt like I'm an open book and I have no problem sharing my body and my thoughts and like all that stuff on the internet. It doesn't, I know for some people that really freaks them out, but for me, it makes me feel comfortable and empowered. I know that when I was younger and using Instagram, there were definitely times where I was posting like some sexy self. We've all done it, and I would have done it in the past. And now my rule of thumb, and I think we spoke about this too with like intuition and feeling how it feels for you. Before I post anything, I think like, is this authentically how I'm feeling? And if this is to get attention or likes, then I don't post it.
Awesome.
I don't post it. And I genuinely, truly, and I know this is weird, but like, I do not care how many likes it gets, how many comments. I mean, the comments I love. If one person sees it and they connect with what I am genuinely feeling, then I'm like so thrilled with my Instagram. So that's my ethos around that. And I would highly encourage you and whoever's posting to just really like take a second before you post and think like, okay, is this really genuine? Do I really feel this way? Is this authentic? Or is this me wanting attention or whatever, likes or a boost, and then like go get that somewhere else, you know?
No, totally. And I think people really can tell when someone's being authentic. people respond a lot better to authenticity. We are in the age of the personal. I always say to my mentoring students, what is put on the internet stays on the internet. So especially if they're younger, can you imagine if we'd had this when we were 16, 17?
No, and I was, oh my God, in high school, the things that I was saying and doing, I was just experimenting with getting attention from boys, and like younger girls now need to be like so in touch with what makes them feel comfortable. Because I'm not saying don't post sexy pictures. Like if you feel like it's an empowering thing, really in your heart, and this takes years to develop even that skill of knowing what makes you feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. Right? Like where your line is. Because for me, I know it's much farther than other people. I'm happy like posting nude pictures, and like none of it doesn't feel pornographic, you know, because it's just, it's a lifelong skill to develop what you feel is empowering and comforting for you.
And this is what you're saying about follow your intuition when it comes to posting, like really hone into, I would agree with that, hone into that place where you're saying, is this me? Like you said, am I doing this for the right reasons? Am I doing it just for attention? Am I doing it because I really feel it? I think that's awesome.
Yeah, because I do feel like if you are posting something just for a little boost, then there's like a come down that happens after that. Yeah. Whereas if you post something that you really believe in, and then you just leave it. And if you get comments or likes, that's great. But if you don't, it doesn't matter. You've put something out in the world. Yeah, it's all very esoteric. It's like weird. You can't really get into specifics, but that's my go-to rule. And I think it's been working out pretty well.
Well, totally. I mean, I was going to say, I asked some of my younger students, actually I asked all of my students what they would want to ask you. And one of them said, how did you build up how did you get your followers? Because you have over 70,000 followers. So how did you build that up?
It doesn't feel like a lot, but I guess.
So this perspective, isn't it?
Do you know what's interesting though? This was years ago when I started gaining the following. So I think the algorithm on Instagram is different, because I will tell you, and by the way, I've lost almost 1,000 followers since the start of the coronavirus.
Oh, really?
And I don't know if it's being outspoken about Black Lives Matter, or I don't know the algorithm of what's going on, but like, but I think anyone will tell you that the advice is consistently posting, staying in alignment with what your ethos or message is, and being really communicative with your audience. But I think I gained my following through modeling and through Dave, to be honest. I played Lollapalooza Berlin back.
Yes.
And that got me a lot of followers, because I played to a sold out field of 85,000 people. So if you say your name on a stage of 85,000 people, then somebody's going to follow you.
Yeah,
right?
Like we'd hope, wouldn't we? Oh gosh, so what was that like, playing in front of that many people?
It was the most incredible day. And especially in Berlin, I don't know if you've been, but it's like, I just find Germany in general is one of my favorite places. They've asked me to come up and sing, and I didn't think he was going to go through with it. I thought it was just something. Sometimes he gets really excited and he's like, come do this, let's do this, let's do this. And you don't really, you know. But anyway, he asked me to come sing, and he followed through. And I was I didn't know anyone. I didn't know the language, but I remember going up to 2 random women who were just like side stage as well. And I was like, hey, I think I'm going to be singing on the next song. And they're like, what? That's so cool. And I was like, I'm a little bit nervous. And they said, okay, well, here you go. They gave me 2 little shot-sized glasses of Jaeger. I'm very German. I took the shot, and one of them put their hands on my shoulders, and she's like, you are so beautiful. I was like, oh, thank you. And then I went on, and it was amazing. And I backed out, and then I came to, and you know, it was great. Yeah.
So one of my students, Abby, wanted to know, how do you remain body confident in an industry which can be brutal, you know? So
it's the same thing about having that intuition, like knowing what makes you happy and doing those things, because external validation isn't going to cut it. Like maybe it'll make you happy for a little bit, but it's not going to sustain your happiness or your confidence level like at all. So do the things that you love. The reason why I've always felt confident in my body, but like the things that make me feel most confident are the things that bring me joy. So like dancing around my room, or moving my body and taking a hike, or cooking because I love cooking, or like playing piano because I love playing piano. Like I think that body confidence and confidence in general just comes from doing the things that light you up, and other people can sense that. People are assholes. Like they're going to say stuff, and you just have to be really confident with who you are and how you feel. And my like being body confident doesn't mean that I think I'm like perfect all the time. I know that I'm not. Yeah. And there are some things totally where I'm like, oh, I feel bloated and gross, but like that doesn't make me who I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like I can separate the two things and wake up and feel bloated and gross and still know that like I have a lot to offer the world, and that it doesn't have anything to do with my being happy or sad, right?
Yeah, so there's more to you than this, you know, you're a human being, you're not just about your looks, you're about other things. And is that what you mean? Yeah.
I think that's the main thing, is that like, especially in the industry, and it's weird, we talked about this before as well, where like it's all about what's on the inside, which is not to say that I'm not obsessed with skincare and makeup and hair care. Yeah, I think it all goes back to doing what makes you happy and knowing that your physical appearance and your external stuff ultimately doesn't fucking matter. That's not going to be the thing that makes you happy. It's doing what you love, in my opinion.
I agree. And I think a lot of people, like you're saying, people can be assholes. They can. And I think they can project a lot of their shit onto you. And you have to kind of understand that sometimes it's nothing to do with you. A lot of times it's themselves, and they're having, you know, they're feeling a little bit uncomfortable with who they are.
It's funny because the really mean comments don't affect me as much. I'm like, this person obviously has some issues, and it doesn't offend me at all. It would be like if there was like a sweet woman who was like, well, I don't, you know, it's like those offhanded comments that are the ones that are a bit more,
you know, that they're just nasty people and they've got stuff going on, and they're taking it out on you. And because I just found that because I was bullied, and I was bullied for being tall. I'm 5'11". I was in the industry told that I'm too fat, still too fat, you know, right now, I'm sure.
What is too fat? For what?
By their standards. Well, this is it. I mean, at the time they said that you know, on the camera, you know, the camera puts weight on you and everything. And I mean, I was slim though. I was really slim. So I love that though. Like I feel very good in my body now, but I've had to grow into that, and that's come with wisdom. So I mean,
it's something that takes years. And now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, oh, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you're like, oh, I don't care.
When did it used to affect you, these things? When you used to get, because a lot of people watching will be a little bit younger, so I wonder, than us. So I wonder, you know.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it's a muscle, like it's a skill, like anything else that you build up. What I will say is my biggest tip that fully changed my life is positive self-talk. I think that we talk to ourselves like we would never be friends with someone that spoke to us the way that we speak to ourselves in our minds.
I absolutely agree.
You know? And now I speak to myself really kindly. I literally have pet names. I know that sounds crazy, but like in my head when I wake up, I'm like, good morning, beautiful. Like, I hope you, like, let's have a great day. Like, and it totally sounds cheesy, but look at yourself in the mirror, or when you talk to yourself, just be really mindful of the things that you're saying, because they're going to perpetuate out into the world. So if you are saying anything negative, just be like, nope, I'm not going to say that to myself. I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm smart, whatever. Because like, you have to be the one to say that. Nobody else, like you can't put that on anyone else.
That is such good advice. It really is. I mean, I know from firsthand experience the way that it took me a while to catch those thoughts, that little voice inside. It took me a while to figure out that it was even there. It was actually a friend who mentioned it to me at least 13 years ago. Have you ever noticed that little voice that's inside that, you know, talking to yourself? When I started to pay attention to it, it wasn't being very kind. And
the other thing that I was thinking was that I was really susceptible to other people's opinions and what other people were doing to make themselves happy and successful in their life, but it didn't necessarily work for me. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not a 9-to-5 job person, and I can't tell you how many people throughout my life were like, just get a fucking job. You need to struggle through the way that we've all struggled through. It's like they're putting their
they're projecting again. Yeah.
Well, it's again then like feeling what you need, but like really try to do the things that make you happy and feel really confident in yourself, and then you'll have more of a space to contribute to the world in the way that you're meant to.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's a lot. I've had a video called The Naysayers that is up on my website, and it's all about that. It's just about people who love to sprinkle like what's almost like a landslide sometimes. It just falls on you of like their negativity and their stuff and their projections of, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, you should be doing, stability, 9 to 5, whatever else it is. And kind of, pooping on the dream a little bit. And
well, that, and I think for any artist, like, and anyone pursuing a career in the arts, you're going to get a lot of that. Mm-hmm. Like, I've heard that my whole life, and still I feel like, what is wrong with me? Like, why can't I just want normal things and be regular? But then like in my heart, I know that it's awesome that I'm not like that, and that I'm different, and that I have a different perspective. And yeah, it's all, I'm telling you the exact same thing throughout this entire interview, which is really try to find out who you are and what makes you happy, and come from that place in giving to the world.
Keep like that's who you are. But I think part of that also, and this is another thing I love about you, is that you're promoting, being healthy, and you do post a lot of pictures about, I think you have a cookbook coming out, and you post a lot of, I see you, you're on your stories, your recipes, and I absolutely want to buy some of them.
We didn't talk about that in the introduction, that I'm a certified nutritionist as well. So the body pause stuff is coming from the inside out. Like, it's not like, it's a combination of all the things. Yes, I can say to myself in the mirror, I'm beautiful, but I don't feel beautiful when I'm eating processed, disgusting, hydrogenated oils and like high fructose corn syrup and that shit. So it all comes together. It's all the same thing.
I know also I was having a podcast with Hanan Rubinstein, who plays guitar with Alicia Keys, and he was talking about something really important, which I'm sure you'll relate to, which is treating yourself well because you care about yourself, but also because you're in an industry which is quite fast paced, and you're on stage. You have to have the energy and the vitality to tour if you're a musician. Yeah. And you, I guess, to go and have photographs taken of you, and you want to feel good in those moments. So
it's even more on set. Like, sometimes I'll be on a lingerie shoot and they'll have like pizza or donuts or burgers, and I'm like, I can't eat that. And then like go be like my best self for the rest of the day. You want to take a nap after you eat those things, right? Yeah. I'm not saying don't indulge. I'm just saying, like, treat your body well. And then that starts with what you put into it.
So what is a typical day like on set?
So a typical day for me modeling is I'll wake up early and shower. I don't shower in the morning on regular days because I work out and whatever. But a shower, I'll usually do like an eye mask or a face mask when I go over. And then you head to set. If it's a full day, they'll probably have like a breakfast spread out, but you go into hair and makeup first. So typically they'll do my makeup first, and then when they do my hair, I'll eat. And I always bring, this is me though, this is like just my experience. Most people just eat what's there, but I typically bring oatmeal because I know that that's gonna be with like flaxseed and chia and almond milk and blueberries and nuts, so that it's like sustaining me throughout that whole period, because I know I won't be able to eat again until lunch. And it depends but this is just if you're on set. If you're on location, it's a whole different thing. So I eat my oatmeal while I'm getting my hair done, and then we go to set. If it's e-commerce, you're doing like 20 outfit changes before lunch, and it's a lot. You just don't stop the whole time. you have, I'm sure you've seen all the model selfies. So you have like 3 minutes where they're like touching up your hair, where you can be like on set, you know, you take a little picture in the mirror and then you go back. Really break for lunch. And depending on the set, they'll order lunch so I can pick and be a little bit more. People are very accommodating in the US. When you shoot in Europe, they're not as accommodating. They don't understand why I would want like non-dairy milk or something. So I try to be a bit less, I don't know, it's tough there. Anyway, yeah, we eat lunch.
You have to adapt.
I try not to eat a bunch of crap because then I'm going to want to nap after, because I'm always exhausted. Even if I have a 3-hour shoot, I'm exhausted after. I think, I mean, you've probably been on camera for music stuff.
Absolutely.
But like when I'm modeling, even if it's just like a beauty shoot or I'm not moving around that much, like there's something about like putting the energy in your eyes that just makes me so tired. So yeah, so I eat healthy. We do the second half of the day, another 20 to 40 outfits. And then at the end of the day.
What outfits? That's a lot, isn't it? What's like 60 outfits a day?
It depends. Yeah, that's e-commerce. So that's what most models are typically doing most days that they work. And that's just like, you know, like if you go on thegap.com and it's like just all the jeans and all the tops and all the things. So that's like the day-to-day work. The fun stuff is location and shooting less.
I remember you telling me that you weren't, I think you touched on this earlier on, but you weren't signed by Wilhelmina in New York at first, and you went out there to get signed because you were signed in LA, and you moved to New York, tried to get signed by Wilhelmina. They wouldn't take you, so you ended up waitressing to pay the bills and then moved back to LA. So, I mean,
I should say to the people that are younger, whoever is watching this, I have failed miserably so many times, and I know that I will again.
Yeah.
And all just, you have to know that when it's really a struggle, that those are the things that are going to teach you more and make you more resilient and make you more grateful for when you do succeed, because you will fail. This is not an industry that's set up for people to be like their best selves. It just doesn't, like, it doesn't happen.
Just land yes. Does it? There's a lot of trial and error, and there's a lot of pushing, and there's a lot of rejection. I mean, how do you handle the rejection?
I mean, when I was in my early 20s, so that story is that I signed, I was doing music, I was doing a weekly show in Los Angeles, and I met a photographer there, and he took my picture and said I should sign, and I ended up signing with Wilhelmina. And then Wilhelmina was like, you need to move to New York because that's where the industry is. And my fantasy was that I would make a ton of money modeling and fund an album and live this fabulous life in New York and be rich and beautiful. I don't know. But I moved to New York 2 weeks later. I packed up my stuff. I was like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And luckily my sister was living there, so I slept on her couch. And I went to go sign with Wilhelmina out there, but I had no idea what I was doing. I had never modeled before. And it is a skill. Mm-hmm. I know that.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. No matter what, when you just start modeling, there are so many different little nuanced things that you need to learn. So I wasn't good at it. I might've been like pretty and young, but I wasn't good at it. Yeah. So Wilhelmina in New York, which is like the big boys, they were like, no, thank you. And they didn't hire me. And I waited tables at like 7 different restaurants. I got fired from so many of them because I had no idea what I was doing. I was broke and young and single and depressed. And I think it made me a better person. I really do.
You're glad it happened, yeah? I mean, how did you deal with that Well, you know, because it built you up to who you are today. I think our experiences do that, don't they? When they're hard, when they're tough, you were saying that they build you up to be a better person.
I think I might have let the rejection get to me a little too much at that point. I mean, I was young and I was an artist and I just really felt everything so much. So that felt like the end of the world to me. And it's interesting now looking back, early 20s, early 30s, like in my early 20s, any kind of rejection was like about me. I fucked it up and I did something wrong and they didn't want me. And now failure and rejection is like, okay, we weren't right for each other at that time. And this goes for relationships and dating and whatever. Like, it's not the end of the world. There's definitely a bit of you have to kind of be like a sociopath to pursue an artistic career.
You want to be on stage is odd, isn't it? Yeah.
It's odd. People are going to tell you that you shouldn't be doing it. And there's a part of you that just isn't going to listen. And it's weird. But like, you are going to fail. You are going to be rejected. That's just what happens when you put yourself out there. And it's fucking awesome that you put yourself out there. Like, that is what you should be proud of. So yeah, like that's all you can control. You are all that you can control. So like, don't let the failures and the setbacks dictate how you feel about yourself. And be sad. Like, for sure, be sad. I'm not saying to not be depressed and I've dealt with depression and anxiety my whole life. Mm-hmm. And I just take that time to say, okay, you know what? I'm really sad about this today. I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to go on a long walk. I'm going to breathe, or I'm just going to fucking like cry and hide in my bed, whatever it is. And then I get out of bed the next day and I say, okay, that didn't work out. Now what's next? But yeah, especially during the coronavirus, I felt like it's been a really cool time to be able to honor how I'm feeling. Yeah. Because for years, if I was having a really anxious day or a depressed day, you just had to go about your business and get your shit done. And now I'm starting to get into like a natural flow of things. So some days I'll wake up and be like, I want to work out and I'm going to write 5 songs on my piano and do all these things. And then some days I wake up and I'm like, you know what? I'm really tired. I'm not feeling like it. And I just don't. And everything still gets done. I free write for a half hour every morning. So I do think like a bit of structure really helps me. So it's got to be like a combination. But for me, I wake up, I chug a big, huge glass of water. I free write for a half hour. And the writing could look like, oh, I'm still really tired. I wish I could go back to bed. And what do I have to do today? And like, I only have this much money in my bank account. What's like, but for me, it's a really nice foundation of like, this is how I'm feeling today. This is what I want to accomplish.
So do you have a skincare regime? I mean, you must do. We all do, right? And you're a model, so.
With my skincare. I'm going to tell you the same thing that everyone else in the world tells you about skincare. Stay hydrated. I drink, wait, let me show you my water glass. Hold on. So, and this is a practice that's also changed my life. This is the water jug that I drink out of. I keep one full by my bed when I go to sleep. I drink the entire thing with a shot of apple cider vinegar when I wake up in the morning. Apple cider vinegar is alkalizing in the body, so it's gonna like just kind of get everything moving, and yeah. Anyway, it's good for you.
Good for weight loss. It's probably because it's alkalining. It's helping your insides, so the weight kind of. I know a lot of people use it for weight loss.
You can use it for weight loss, but it's also it's kind of just like kickstarting your metabolic stuff. Mm-hmm. And also just even chugging water without anything in it is going to like get everything moving in the morning. So I do that. I take collagen supplements every day. I would say that's something for like 25 plus. Like after the age of 25, your collagen levels start to degrade.
Right.
The amount of studying that I've done on it, I sound like a...
Mine must be really degraded. I don't take it.
And I would highly recommend taking a probiotic as well. And it's not one size fits all. Like you can try around things, but so I do the jug of water with the apple cider vinegar and the probiotic, because again, it's all coming from inside. If you're healthy on the inside, your skin is going to glow. Right. That being said, there are things I do on the outside as well. So the water, the probiotics, the collagen, and then I wear SPF 50 on my face every day. We're quite pale. Yeah. I pride myself on not getting a tan in the summertime. Yeah. If I want to be tanned, if I have a lingerie shoot or a bikini shoot, I can do a spray tan or put it on myself, but there is no reason for your face to be exposed to the sun. So I wear SPF, I would recommend SPF 30 to SPF 50 first thing in the morning after you wash your face. Yeah. And this is like bare minimum. You don't even have to use face wash if you're washing your face at night. I literally splash my face with cold water in the morning, unless I've done a mask or something. And then I do my SPF, I reapply halfway through the day. And then my other big advice would be to take off your makeup and sunscreen at night. So important. I know that we are all tempted to sleep in our makeup, but just don't do it.
Sunscreen as well. you should wash the sunscreen off before you go to sleep. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it's not only just the sunscreen, it's like pollutants and stuff in the air and like smoke from your whatever you've been cooking. Like all of that is coming into your pores. So you just want to clean it out every night. And as you sleep, your cells are regenerating. So it gives you like a clean slate to then wake up and start fresh. But yeah, every day, even if it's just sunscreen, wash your face. And it can be just like a quick, you don't need to go crazy. If you do want to go crazy and you are wearing makeup, I would recommend an oil cleanser, double cleansing. So you would use an oil cleanser to take off your makeup and then a regular cleanser after. And these are all things you can get at the drugstore. You don't need to spend $1 million. So water, collagen, probiotics, sunblock, wash your face at night. And then as you get older, there are other things like you start incorporating an eye cream and like an overnight mat, whatever it is. But those are the basic things.
Yeah, I do have the eye cream. I noticed when I was wearing my face mask in the shop the other day. I took a little selfie and I was like, oh gosh, I need more eye cream on my eyes. So people are like, I was reading an article about how people are getting like way more surgery and Botox on their eyes because now it's all people can see, or they're doing more makeup. And so do you have any tips for the guys and the girls and anyone else watching, non-binary, etc., who, for taking photographs? Like Instagram things, like what are some tips for a really good selfie, for example?
Okay, so talking about selfies, here's my best tip is to find your light. So right now I'm just in this middle of the room, light is coming down. And then if I move, here's like the doorway. So if I move in front of a doorway, let me try and get it. I don't know, can you see that it's smoother lighting there?
It's gorgeous. You've really got the eye thing down as well. You just know exactly what you're doing with those eyes.
Well, that's also a modeling tip as well. I actually have quite squinty eyes. I don't know how I've gotten away with modeling for so many years, but I try to like open them up. And that's the other thing too. Like if you're taking a selfie and you just have dead face, nobody like, just like put a little, other thing is I'm taking a group picture. Any model will do this, actually laugh. So you're in a group of people and you know how people are like, if you like, if you hear photo shoots with multiple models, it sounds like that. Because it gives you like a little light in your eye. And then same advice I've been giving for every single question, do what makes you feel comfortable. So just experiment. And we can get into another time like body posing things, but you want to find your curves. You want to make shapes with your body. So you never want like flat, you want shapes. Just find a way to make shapes. And we don't want stiff fingers. Shake your hands out and make them softer. And you can even like in pictures, you can do little tiny movements, right? Like as someone's shooting me, I'm working with my face as well, but I'm doing tiny movements so that it's soft, because it will eventually kind of come back here.
So just keep moving so that every shot's a little bit different.
Tiny little movements, yeah, and work with the light. Don't be afraid to like try different areas. So those are my tips. But the selfie thing is a big one. If you're taking a selfie, be inside, but go to the window or the door so you can have that matte lighting.
And do you think always above like this? Obviously never like that because you have the chin, or can it be straight?
Yeah, but for me it's different. It totally depends, because sometimes I'll take like an angle. Here, I'll show you my most recent Instagram post. Look, can you see that? That's from below.
Yeah, that's great. Actually. That's the big hair.
So it just depends on different people. Like people say not to shoot from below, but it can make you look quite long. But just experiment with what works for you. For me, a little bit of a height is always a classic selfie pose. But yeah, just move your camera around, see what works. It's gonna be different for everyone.
My next question, probably my last question, is a bit of a dark question as well, but I want to ask it. So this is more for the women. I guess I don't know what the male experiences are in the industry, but there can be a lot of seediness out there and a bit of sleaziness by certain individuals that might have a little bit of power. And I just wondered how you've dealt with that over the years? I assume it's in fashion as much as it is in music. I knew it.
Yeah, I've been really lucky in the fashion industry. I think it's different for commercial modeling and like editorial runway stuff, which I don't do as much of. But certainly in the music industry, I have had some things. I think that it's really tempting to please people as a woman. I know for me at least, I just want to make everyone happy, and that can transfer over to seedy older men who are trying to take advantage of you. So again, for the 7,000th time, really sit with your gut emotion. And because typically what it's going to look like is not like someone accosting you in a back room. It's going to look like snide comments about your body and just one step past the line of what's appropriate. So just feel in your gut if it feels comfortable to you or not. And if it doesn't feel comfortable, don't put yourself in the situation. Say that you don't feel comfortable, walk out of the room, whatever it is. It's okay to make other people feel uncomfortable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like as women, we want to be really accommodating, and we want to make everyone in the room feel comfortable and happy. And when it comes to your, like, you just have to trust your gut and know that if someone's being a bit skeezy, that you can say like, you dude, you don't have to say that. And it doesn't have to be like, you're sexually accosting me, you know, like it's not a big deal. Just be like, hey, like, no, you don't get to talk to me like that. I'm going to go get some water. I'll see you when you can be nicer to people. You know what I mean? Like just,
I do. I think sometimes, certainly in the music industry, there's certain individuals that dangle the carrot of, oh, we can get this made and I'll send it to Ariana Grande's producer or something, something that would really, you know, send your career in an amazing direction.
If someone is saying like, we're going to send this to Ariana Grande's producers or whatever, be like, amazing, I love that, thank you so much. I've got to go, but like just keep me updated on what's going on. Like, take advantage.
Yeah.
They're taking advantage of you.
No, that's how I dealt with it in the past. I think I was very friendly and, oh wow, thank you. And but I managed to always keep that boundary in. So, you know, if there was a hand that sort of slipped out of place, I was sort of moving away going, I really appreciate you doing that for me, thank you. And I'm just gonna, you know, I've got to go now, but hey, yeah, let me know.
British people are acutely aware of how to politely like politely decline people's advances. It's like in your DNA to just be like nice, but like also like,
yeah.
So if you let them get away with one little thing, they're going to push just a little bit more. Oh, can you send, like, it's definitely happened in like promotional materials, like something that I'm wearing, and they're like, oh, okay, can you do like a little bit more revealing? Can we see this? Like, they're just going to keep asking until you draw your boundaries. So just find what your boundaries are. And again, this applies to everything we've been talking about. Find what your boundaries are, what you feel comfortable with, and then stick to that.
Yeah, it's like don't share and don't on Instagram, don't share anything you're not comfortable with. Don't do anything you're not comfortable with, and find a way to say no that is comfortable for you.
And because it's different for everyone. I mean, I've certainly been in the studio before Corona days, and we're like all cuddling on the couch and somebody's rubbing my shoulder. And like, for me, that feels really nice. And I like that. And I'm a touchy-feely person, but for some people, they might really not want that. And it's okay to say like, oh, you know, I'm not as much of a touchy person, but like, this music sounds great, whatever it is, you know? Yeah. There's a way to navigate it so that you feel comfortable.
I think also people respect you a lot more if you put some boundaries in.
Yeah.
So you were saying you've dealt with anxiety a lot of your life?
Sure, yeah.
So, I mean, one of the things I meant to ask you earlier is when you're having a real anxious day and you know you have to go on set, or if you were doing a gig back in the day, how would you personally deal with that?
It's hard.
Yeah.
I won't say that it's not. And it's so tough because you don't know when it's going to hit you. For me, it's more depression than anxiety, although I do get anxiety. But I would say it's really important to find whatever pockets of self-care that you can. So if you're having an emotional day or something's going on, just find time to step away and do some deep breathing. So like that's like the bare minimum self-care thing that you can always do. Even if you're feeling like anxious or stressed or you've got a lot going on in your car or on the tube, wherever you are, you can just like close your eyes and take deep belly breaths. And it's tempting to zone out. You feel a bit disconnected from people and what you're doing when you're in an anxious state.
Yeah, it's true.
It's tempting to like go on TikTok or Instagram and just like get out of yourself, but really take a minute to just ground down, close your eyes, and do some deep breathing. And then promise yourself that later, after you complete your task, working on set, whatever it is, that you can go home and that you're really going to treat yourself to a lovely, healthy meal or a bath or a nap or whatever it is that makes you feel better. But yeah, that little breath will change things.
I think that's great advice. And also to add, I think just remember, although it's very hard in the moment, but remember that it does pass. And it's linked to some kind of fear. I get anxiety so bad, and I think I deal with it. But I had an experience in my early 20s that really set me off onto an anxious path. And yeah, I think I just understand, the fact that this fear is sometimes it's not real. Sometimes we get triggered by something that's happened in our past. So, just, I guess, be very, I think self-care is kind of the word of the interview, isn't it? It all stems from self-care when you're in an industry like this and just when you're a human being. Yeah, thank you for talking with us.
Thank you so much for having me. That was fun.
Yeah, you too, and have a great day. And I'll speak to you soon.
Enjoy your dinner. Okay, bye.